The question therefore is, everyone speaking in the right language today on the news. I want to know how, because I'm going to record this program and play it before the election. I want to know eventually how many, because I'm tired of homilies. And Meenakshi Lekhi, you will remember. Meenakshi Lekhi, Rajnath Singh says, I agree with Advani ji, though I cannot guarantee that everybody who is a member of the BJP is free of taint and as pure as the waters of the Ganga. But I will ensure that anyone facing charges which are prima facie there will not be allowed to hold a post and will even be denied a ticket. Now we have to make sure that is implemented. That's not just a homily when Rajnath Singh takes over as BJP chief. Let's get Sanjay Jha in. Will the Congress party promise on the program tonight that not one person facing pending criminal cases will be put up by the party seeking election for a third time?
Arnab, I don't think I would like to beat about the bush. The fact is, as I'm somebody who's very new as an outsider into politics, I can tell you that the political system needs a serious purging. And I'm speaking this is not an official version of the party. I think the law minister will respond to the...
That's a standard lecture, Sanjay Jha.
But I do believe that I do believe that the August, I do believe that the parliament that we call August, its sanctity needs to be preserved. There's no denying that. I will also not deny the fact that in our own party, we have had some criminal elements that have managed to infiltrate the system. Is it a responsibility?
The highest number of criminals, not some.
Of the Congress party, because we are a large party. We are a large party. We have a grand old tradition, and I do believe all political parties here need to be on a consensus. But I would like to add one point.
I'm sorry, but this is all one blank lecture. This is all one blank lecture.
I just want to make one point.
It's one
we have brought
lecture.
in the RTI in the country. We have introduced the Lokpal in the country, and we do believe that the future is to try and as far as possible and as quickly as possible bring about a complete dramatic overhaul to our political system.
So then I
subscribe, although I think the formal statement from the party might happen tomorrow.
No, I don't know why you are hedging everything today. Why are you hedging? I am told the government is trying to challenge the Supreme Court order seeking more clarification on the gravity of offences. And by the way, Meenakshi Lekhi and Pinaki Mishra, let me tell you, dharna or protest does not warrant 2 years in prison. The Supreme Court has spoken about convictions for 2 years, so that that Lakshman Rekha has already been drawn.
May I clarify for your consumption? May I clarify for your consumption?
Arnab, because I have to leave, if you can just allow me to make a quick point.
What Mr. Mishra is saying.
Arnab, because I have to leave, if you can allow me.
Okay, go ahead. I haven't gone to the Aam Aadmi party
I
yet.
just want to make 2 quick points, Arnab. Arnab, I just want to make a quick point. I think the larger issues that we need to address, the reason why the Supreme Court has had to pass the order, is because we need a quicker system of judicial remedy, so that
please don't pass the buck on the Newshour tonight. No, this is straightforward passing of the buck. The same politicians who benefit by dragging the cases. The same political parties whose representatives benefit by dragging the cases cannot flip on the other side. Let's get in the Aam Aadmi party. I'm coming to you. Rahul Mehra's response to Meenakshi Lekhi and Sanjay Jha. Yes.
Well, Arnab, one thing is very clear from all of the debate that I've heard so far, that as far as the BJP and the Congress are concerned, there's a match fixing out here as well, and also of the other parties. Because each one of them will take a higher moral ground on your show. But when it comes down to doling out tickets are going to be doled out on all issues. Because I didn't interrupt anyone. I expect people are not going to interrupt and have a civilized debate. So please wait for a chance now. So Arnab, the issue is that when you pose a question to Meenakshi Lekhi, she was pointing fingers at Congress and Samajwadi Party. When you asked the question to the other two, they were pointing fingers at the others. What does this show, and why this judgment has been invited by the Supreme Court? Simply because the corrective measures which should have been there in the political parties themselves have failed. All the political parties have failed the citizens of this country, have failed the trust that was reposed in the citizens of this country, that they will field honest candidates. I am proud to be a member of Aam Aadmi Party, where we not only have internal mechanisms but also external mechanisms. Once, if at all, we have given a wrong candidate a ticket, then you can post your objections, and we are duty bound to throw them out. So this is the only political party. And let me remind you, let's not wait till 2014. There is an election in 2013 and many elections in 2013. Let's start from here. And let's start from ourselves.
What happens?
Let's do some inner introspection.
It all
let's
sounds
not
good.
say, let's not say that the Supreme Court has to do it. We are not going to invite Supreme Court. We are going to look into ourselves. We are not going to wait for the verdict.
That's all good.
We are not going to wait for charge sheets.
That's all good. Meenakshi Lekhi wants to respond to you.
We are going to impose. It's going to be a
It sounds good. We are taking responses, please. The debate is now open. I go back to Meenakshi Lekhi, but before that, Gaurav Bhatia wanted to say something. Meenakshi, I'm going to come to you in just one bit. What is unacceptable to the people tonight is this whole business. Let's evolve a consensus. Because I remember in January 2010, Sonia Gandhi exhorted parties to evolve a consensus. And she says, we don't want the influence of money. We don't want the influence of money power. We want transparency. We must prevent people with a criminal record from contesting the elections. This from a party which put up 117 candidates. 117, 27% with criminal backgrounds. In a country where 1,158 candidates had pending criminal cases against them. I think it's a farce. Gaurav Bhatia, your response. Who are you responding to? Aryaman coming to you right after.
I just wanted to respond to the comments made by the representative of the Aam Aadmi Party that while I was replying for the Samajwadi Party, I never spoke about the other two national parties. He said that I was referring to them, so that's factually not correct. Secondly, I would also like to say that in the 2012 assembly elections itself, there was a minister of the BSP government who was charged with corruption offences, and the Samajwadi Party refused to take that person in the party. He went and he joined the Bharatiya Janata Party. You know, the point that I'm trying to make is that the reasonableness and the effectiveness need not be confined to one party. Even if we have an internal mechanism, the other parties should also shut the door. There have been many examples where Samajwadi Party, it happened with DP Yadav, where the Samajwadi Party refused to admit him in the party. There were other parties who offered him ticket. So, you know, it would be wrong to say that the Samajwadi Party is not being useful. I have already mentioned that we would ensure that the number goes down and it should come to a point where there is no person with criminal antecedent. One more thing, Arnab, the data that you are referring to is about the FIRs that had been lodged or charge sheets that have been filed. The persons have not been convicted. And during the BSP regime, when we were fighting against a corrupt government, there were a lot of false cases that were slapped on the Samajwadi Party workers.
I have heard this before.
And that is why that number
I have heard this before, and I have heard this before. I don't. No, that's not the point.
That is why it is important.
The point is, Gaurav Bhatia, Gaurav Bhatia, Mr. Rajagopal of the Congress, welcome to the program. No, that's not the point. The point is, and I go back to Aryaman Sundaram. The point is that political parties,
the data, you have to be sure that the data reflects the right picture as well. In this case, it doesn't.
Mr. Bhatia, of course it does.
Of course it does. The Samajwadi Party have a criminal case against them.
I am talking about pending criminal cases against them. And what I'm saying is simply this. Yes, Aryaman comes in. What I'm saying is
pending criminal cases could mean anything.
Of course it could mean anything.
Rioting. It could mean.
So why do you talk
criminal?
If you want to give if you want to give tickets
if you protest against.
No, it does not mean if you protest or you hold a dharna. No, it doesn't. Aryaman
would the government not slap false cases against you?
You see, one second. Your attempts to make those who are facing criminal cases out to be some kind of, political activists, innocent people who have been tied down by their rivals and other products.
I am not trying to.
Please don't.
I am not trying to do that. I am trying to differentiate between people who have committed heinous crimes.
The question is moral tonight. And the problem is that no political party, certainly not yours, certainly not the Congress, Mr. Rajagopal, welcome, and certainly not the BJP, which fell over backwards to get Vittal by Radadia. A person who is accused of everything from including dacoity. And Narendra Modi welcomed him and garlanded him and talked about bringing him back. They have lost the moral right to take a position on this subject. Aryaman Sundaram, your position. Meenakshi Lekhi, I'm coming to you. Aryaman Sundaram. Aryaman Sundaram, sir.
Please make that exception, it's important.
Aryaman Sundaram.
Accept the Aam Aadmi Party.
Can I just clarify one thing? I think we're all missing the point here. There is no doubt that the Constitution, the Representation of People's Act, provide only for disqualification of convicted people, not charged people. There is no doubt about that. But what we're debating now is something else. We are talking about an issue of what would be the position if the protection given to sitting members, which was there under 8.4, has now been struck down. What would be the practical situation if people who have been charged are voted to Parliament and thereafter, in view of the Supreme Court having struck down the protection under 8.4, when they are convicted, all those seats fall vacant? That does not make for good government. So what the debate, just allow me to finish, madam, just allow me to finish, just a moment. So what the debate is really about is, what should we do about people who are charged? And here I want to clarify something. Let's understand there are different stages in a case. Yes, there will be room for innocent people being accused of things. But there are different stages. You first have an FIR stage.
Exactly.
Then you have a court taking cognizance and issuing process. Then you have a charge sheet being filed. But I think what we're really discussing today is not any of these three stages. We are discussing a stage where after all this is done, just a moment please, after the charge sheet is filed, if the court frames charges, when the court frames charges, that's because the court has come to the conclusion, not the complainant, not the person who gave the first information, but the court comes to the conclusion that this is a case where more than a prima facie case has been made out, that charges have to be framed and the trial proceed. I think what we're really discussing is, what do we do in cases of people where charges have already been framed? Not merely where an FIR has been lodged or a complaint given or it's under investigation or even if a charge sheet has been filed. I'm talking about the court having framed charges.
Where today's order
sufficiently that you may end up with vacant seats. So let's view it politically, let's view it practically, and let's view it morally. And I think once charges are framed, parties should desist from giving those people seats.
But they won't do that. And that's where the moral dilemma comes in. And the moral dilemma, I go back to Meenakshi Lekhi, moral dilemma hits parties, like all parties, in their face. So my question is, had this Supreme Court ruling come earlier, Meenakshi Lekhi, would you have taken in the Right Honourable Vittal Bhai Radadia, among whose eminent charges against him includes dacoity? Would you have, and a man who said, how can a person who earns 100 rupees ask me for a toll? I have every right to put my gun on his head. Would your party and Narendra Modi have brought back Vittal Bhai Radadia into the party irrespective of today's verdict? And had this verdict come out, Meenakshi Lekhi, before Vittal Bhai Radadia was brought back with open arms by Narendra Modi, would you have brought him in the BJP? Please answer it pointedly.
I'll answer you pointedly and I'll raise a question about you also pointedly. The pointed answer is this particular judgment does not affect getting him into the party, number one. Because this judgment is about somebody who has been convicted. And somebody who has been convicted, and going back to Mr. Sundaram's analogy, the judgment is, if he has to read 151 also, under which if a seat falls vacant within 6 months, the re-election needs to happen, and it needs to happen within next 6 months. Under these circumstances, the seats will keep on falling vacant, and anyway, this is the law of the land.
Let it be.
This must be implemented, and I'm all for this. I'm all for this. Now, coming to the second question.
Vittal Bhai Radadia was my question.
Not a national figure till he joined. I'm sorry, I'm coming to you. I'm coming to you and I'm answering you pointedly. Vittal Bhai Radadia was not a national headline till he joined the BJP. So this is the
I'm sorry, you are so completely mistaken, Ms. Lekhi. I'm sorry, I cannot let you get away with that. You are so completely mistaken. You are so completely mistaken.
You tell me, when was the first time you covered Mr. Vittal Bhai Radadia? When was the first time you covered Mr. Vittal Bhai Radadia and the likes? You tell me that.
Ms. Lekhi, please remember this. Before you try and get aggressive on this subject, let me tell you very clearly that when he was stopped
I'm
at
not
the toll
getting
plaza,
aggressive.
when
I
he
am only
one second,
answering you.
you are on the defense.
You only covered him when he was stopped at the... I'm
Miss
not
Lekhi, are you
defensive.
embarrassed?
I am asking you in return.
And I'm asking
no,
you. I'm asking you.
Of course it's embarrassing.
Are you embarrassed?
Are
you embarrassed?
Who's saying it's not embarrassing?
Are you embarrassed that
What right do you have?
Are you embarrassed?
What right do you have to embarrass me?
Miss Lekhi,
I'm asking you that. Are you that clean yourself?
I'm asking
Please
you a
answer me
question.
there.
I'm asking you a
Of course
question.
I'm embarrassed.
You're not embarrassed.
No, you're not asking me a question.
You're not letting me ask a question. Miss Lekhi, you should listen to the question.